Hi guys, this is Chris from Chef Wannabe's Life. Today I am going to do my best to replicate a piece that I found at Kirklands, and it isn't going to be exactly like it, but I wanted to try to recreate it for you from Dollar Tree products. Let's get a list of what you're going to need and get to work. For this size, you're going to need 4 8x10 frames. Use frames with the widest frame that you can find. You're going to need 4 4x6 frames. I bought mine in a brownish black. You're going to need white, silver, gray, or brown. Get these 3 colors because I'm not sure exactly which we're going to need. We're going to need paint brushes, hot glue, and we're going to need some ribbon. Now I haven't decided exactly which I'm going to use, but we'll figure that out when we get there. So let's get these frames unwrapped and then we'll move on to the next part. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get all of these frames taken out of the plastic. I'm speeding this up so you don't have to sit and watch this. But after you remove all of the plastic, set them aside, and we are going to take the glass and the backs, everything out of the 8x10 frames, because we're going to need to hang the 4x6s inside of them. So we need to remove the backs and the glass. The small frames, you are going to leave the glass and the backs all intact because those are the frames that you will be using to actually hang your pictures. Now I mix a little bit of brown with the white, and I do the large frames in a barely beigey off-whitey color because I want them to not be the same color as the small frames. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I wanted to try to follow my inspiration piece as best I could. And so I did the large frames with that, again, that I just mixed the tiniest bit of brown with white. And then, as you will see, I did the small frames with a little bit of gray in the white. So after I let them dry, I decided that I was going to go with the large wide burlap ribbon. Here I'm just figuring out my spacing. The original piece had holes drilled in it and twine or like a leather rope was used, but with these being Dollar Tree products, I didn't want to risk drilling holes in them. And though my original piece I loved it, you know, it was just an inspiration. So I went with the wide piece, and I thought that with the kind of flimsy frames or flimsier frames that it would hold them a little bit more level. So I just use my hot glue, I attach it to the small frame. I'm not sure why I didn't cut all the pieces the same length from the beginning, because that would have been far too easy, right? So I get my burlap on, I just glue it onto the back, I twist it around to the front, and then I glue it onto the large frame. It wasn't until after I glued it to that first one I realized I was going to have to use a little bit of glue on the front of that small 4x6 frame because it was just hanging kind of wonky. So here I am just going to do that, get it all attached, and these may not hang perfectly, you guys. When you hang this piece up on the wall, you may need to use a little bit of fun tack on the back of the 4x6 just to make sure that it stays nice and level. As I said before, while I love Dollar Tree products, these are not made for something like this, and so I like to give them a little bit of reinforcement, and sometimes they just need a little help. I think I just was so excited about how the piece actually turned out. Since I didn't use an actual window, I thought it turned out to be a great alternative. And it's great for the farmhouse chic decor that is so popular now. I was going to give this away. I think I'm going to end up keeping it. But this is just where I get all of those attached. So we'll just hang in here while I get that all done. I did go and reinforce some of the backs. I think I ended up doing all of them on the back, the corners of the frames, just to reinforce those connections a little bit. I'm just going ahead and getting the backs placed back into those 4x6s, the glass and the backs. And now I am going to connect the frames. It is difficult because they're thin depth-wise, so I had a little bit of trouble, and I would suggest in hindsight buying frames that are as deep as you can get, as thick as you can get. I went ahead and flipped it over and I reinforced those joints with more hot glue. I love Dollar Tree products, but in this project I felt like all the joints needed as much reinforcing as possible. And I did that with lots and lots of hot glue, you guys. I went ahead and got both the top and the bottom, the side-to-side pieces attached, and then the top and bottom were a little bit more difficult. You have to work quick before that glue dries. And if it does dry and it doesn't stick for you, just peel it right off and start again. Again, you can see that I am reinforcing those joints with just more glue, and then at the end you'll see that I reinforce them a little bit better again. And they are flimsy for sure, especially before you get them completely attached. I could have used a second set of hands here. I actually had some little clamps I could have used, now that I'm thinking about it. But this took me a couple of times to kind of get this done right. And it's almost like you just have to work one side kind of at a time. And then again, I reinforced the joint with hot glue. I don't know what those papers are there. No idea. I was like hot glue gun crazy. Then once I flip this over, I'm going to use the hot glue again, and I'm going to run it along the joints on the front, and then without burning your finger, and while it's still warm enough to kind of even out, I run my finger over it. Here I just use some leftover backs, and I reinforce across and top to bottom, horizontally and vertically, and that made a huge difference. So I hope you enjoy. Here's the final product. Thanks for watching!